Hello. We are now on the second part of percentage taxes. So we ended from our last video. We ended with section 120. So now we will proceed with sections 121 and 122. So medyo pagkasamahin ko tong dalawa dahil related naman yung um, uh, transactions ng sections 121 and 122. Now, Section 121 is the tax on banks and non-bank financial intermediaries performing quasi-banking functions. While Section 122 is the tax on other non-bank financial intermediaries which are not performing quasi-banking functions. So Section 121, kapag bangko ka, pag bangko yung institution, automatic Section 121 will apply. If the institution is a non-bank financial intermediary, it would depend if that financial intermediary, non-bank financial intermediary, is performing quasi-banking functions or not. If the non-bank financial intermediary is performing quasi-banking functions, that institution, that taxpayer will be covered by Section 121. If not, 122 will apply. If not performing quasi-banking functions, 122 will apply. Now, pag binasa natin yung Section 121, in-enumerate lang niya yung mga income items kung saan liable yung bangko and yung non-bank financial intermediary performing quasi-banking functions. So in-enumerate niya, una, interest, commissions and discounts from lending and leasing activities, as well as income from financial leasing on the basis of the remaining maturities of the instruments. And then dividends, equity shares, and net income of subsidiary, royalty, rental of property, whether real or personal, profits from exchange, and all other items which are treated as revenue or gross income under Section 32 of the Tax Code. So for letter C, ano siya, no? Parang lahat actually. Lahat ng items na kinokolekta ng isang bangko or isang non-bank financial intermediary performing quasi-banking functions, which the bank will or the institution will treat as taxable income kasi nga kailangan niya mag-form part ng Section 32. Considered siya as income item under Section 32, then it is also subject to percentage tax under Section 121. And then finally, on net trading gains within the taxable year on foreign currency, debt securities, derivatives, and other similar financial instruments. So, in-enumerate lang niya. Actually, the provision, Section 121, already included or identified the um, tax rate. No? But for our purpose, tinanggal ko muna siya para meron tayong comparison between Section 121 and Section 122. Now, 122, ganun din yung ginawa na. Enumerate din niya yung mga income items which are covered by Section 122 and which are subject to the percentage tax. There shall be collected a tax of 5% on gross receipts derived by the non-bank financial intermediary doing business in the Philippines from interest, commissions, and discounts, and all other items which are treated as gross income under the tax code. Just like section, yung binanggit kanina, Section 32 of the National Internal Revenue Code. Provided that the interest, commissions, and discounts from lending activities, as well as income from financial leasing, shall be taxed on the basis of the remaining maturities of the instrument from which such receipts are derived. So yun yung laman ng provision ng tax code natin. Going back to our discussion on VAT exempt, no? Meron tayong nabanggit doon, particularly under letter V, di ba? Diniscuss ko to together with educational institutions, medical institutions, publishers, and regional area headquarters. No, yung pinakahuli doon, together with G, H, R, V, at saka J ay letter V. Letter V ay banks and non-bank financial intermediaries. Nakalagay doon, they are VAT exempt. They are not subject to VAT. Malinaw yon kasi they are subject to percentage tax under Section 121 and 122. And according to Section 109 letter E, those services which are subject to percentage tax are no longer subjected to value-added tax. So medyo umiikot yung mga provision. Diba? Kung ang bangko ay covered ng 121 and 122, malinaw lamang na kung sila ay subject sa percentage tax, hindi siya dapat maging subject sa value-added tax. So kung bank ang pinag-uusapan, dalawa ang maaaring maging basihan ng bangko para sabihin na siya ay VAT exempt. Una, pwede niyang gamitin yung letter E ng Section 109. Sabi doon, services subject to percentage tax. Or, kung gusto niya maging specific, gamitin niya yung letter V ng Section 109, saying that banks and non-bank financial intermediaries are not subject to value-added tax, but they are subject to percentage tax under Section 121 and 122 of the tax code. Okay? Now, nandito ngayon yung ating tax rate. Pinagpantay ko yung magkaparehas. Actually, yung 1 lang naman pala ito. Dapat yung 2 binaba ko siya. Anyway, yung una ay interest, discounts, and commission. Meron siyang interest, meron siyang discounts and commission, which are the same income items found under Section 122. Interest, discounts, and commission. From what? Interest, discounts, and commission on leasing, nagpapaupa siya, or lending activities, nagpapautang siya. And the tax rate would depend on the maturity. Long-term, 1%, short-term, 5%. So parehas lang siya. Section 121 and Section 122 ay parehas ng tax na ini-impose. On the, what do you call this? On the interest, discounts, and commission on leasing and lending activity. Nakalagay depende daw dun sa maturity, long-term or short-term. When do we consider the period or the maturity of the leasing and lending activity as long-term or short-term? It is considered as long-term if the period will exceed a period of 5 years. If the term will exceed a period of 5 years. If it will not exceed a period of 5 years, it is considered as short-term. So long-term, more than 5 years, long-term, 1%. Not exceeding 5 years, short-term, 5%. Same goes with Section 122. Interest, discounts, and commission on leasing and lending activities will depend on the maturity. Long-term, 1%, short-term, 5%. Okay. Paano ko tatandaan ito? Tandaan mo yan sa uri ng pag-aaral na ginagawa ninyo. Bilang estudyante, may choice ka. No? Ano ba yung choice mo? I will study this subject matter, this may subject, no, for the midterm or for the finals, either long-term, mag-spend ako ng time studying long-term, or short-term. Kukuntian ko lang yung oras ko sa pagbabasa nito or pag-aaral nito. So yung effect ng long-term study mo at short-term study mo will determine kung anong grade ang makukuha mo. Kapag long-term ang aral mo, 1 ang grade. Kapag short-term ang aral mo, 5 ang grade. Long-term, 1. Long-term na aral, 1. Short-term na aral, 5. Long-term, 1%. Short-term, 5%. Same goes with Section 122. Long-term, 1%. Short-term, 5%. Okay. Let's go to Section 121, item number 2. Income item number 2. Dividends and share in the net income subsidiary, 0%. So ito yung similar, no? Similar with the income tax treatment of intercorporate dividends. No? There's one corporation declaring dividend in favor of another corporation. So nagkataon lang na yung another corporation na binabanggit dito ay isang bangko. Talking about income taxation, di ba, kapag ang isang corporation ay nag-declare, at least domestic siya, no? A domestic corporation ay nag-declare ng dividends in favor of another domestic corporation, a resident foreign corporation. That dividend is referred to as intercorporate dividends and it is not subject to tax. It is exempt from income tax. So yung concept na yon, that principle, you also apply here. Na dividends from a corporation to be received by a banking institution, which is also a corporation, is exempt now from, what do we call this? Percentage tax. Kaya siya, not actually exempt, meron siyang 0% dyan. But that is also exemption din naman. And then for items 3 and 4, you have rents, royalties, gains, and other incomes. Income items subject to basic income tax, meaning it will form part of the gross income as defined under Section 32 of the tax code. And then net trading gains on foreign exchange, debt instruments, and derivatives, also 7%. So technically, lahat na ng income items niya, lahat ng income items ng isang bangko na subject sa income tax will also be subject to percentage tax at the rate of 7%. Why 7%? Because these items are items number 3 and 4. Items 3, 4, 3, and 4 ay 7. Kaya siya naging 7. Again, ano ko lang yun. Invento ko lang. Nagkataon lang naman no, sa enumeration ng diyan siya nakapwesto sa number 3 and 4. Pwede naman siya mapupunta sa 2 and 3. Pero hindi, no, para magkaroon tayo ng tulong sa sarili natin, nilagay ko siya sa 3 at sa 4. Now, sa kabila naman, rents, royalties, gains, and other income items subject to basic tax ay naging 5%. So, ibig sabihin, itong number 2 na ito ay itong number 2 na ito ay iniba niya yung rate, no? Kasi sa kabila 7% siya, ngayon naging 5, no? Naging 5. Bakit naging 5? Kasi if you will observe the enumeration, nabawasan ng dalawa. 'Di ba dito sa kabila 4, ito dalawa na lang, nawala yung dalawa. So from 7%, nawala yung dalawa, kaya naging 5% na lang. Again, invento ko lang din yun. Hindi yun yung reason behind ba't siya 5%. Pero kung matutulungan kayo noon, then so be it. Matulungan sana kayo sa pagtanda ng mga rates na yan. Again, these provisions of the tax code is just a matter of recall. So, hindi ka naman niya papahirapan na rent ba tong kinita niya, royalty ba to, gains ba to. As long as you can identify na kung anong klaseng income item yung binigay sa problem, then taxable yan on the part of, unless hindi siya talaga income item. No? Pero most of the time, kung nakakolekta yung bangko, income items yun, and it will be subjected to income tax as well as the percentage tax provided under Section 121 and 122. It's just a matter of recall kung anong rate ba talaga ang i-apply. With all the things that I mentioned, hopefully maalala niyo yung mga rates na yan. Now we have here a problem. We have here problem on sections 121 and 122. Rentals from safety deposit boxes, 500,000. Na ginagawa yan nila, no? Rentals from real properties acquired through mortgage foreclosure, 300,000. Service fees, no? Dito ngayon umaarangkada ang mga bangko, no? Meron akong alam na bangko, same bank, no? Magkaibang branch. Pag nagpasa ka ng pera using their mobile app, may bayad. Imagine one branch to another branch of the same bank. May bayad. That's weird. No? Anyway, the service fees, 200,000. Deposits from customers. Do you even consider that as revenue item? No? 900,000. Dividends, 300,000. And income from or revenue from financial leases. 5 years and less, 400,000. And then more than 5 years, 600,000. We are asked, magkano ang tax kung siya ay bangko? Magkano ang tax kung siya ay non-bank financial institution not exercising quasi-banking functions? If you want to test yourself, you can pause the video right now. And if not, we will proceed with answering this problem. Okay, so we have here yung problem kanina, and we have 2 columns. One is provided for section 121, and then the second column is provided for section 122. Okay, so for rentals from safety deposit box under section 121, that is subject to 7% percentage tax. Section 122, this one is subject to 5% percentage tax. Rentals from real properties acquired through foreclosure proceeding, 7% under Section 121, 5% under Section 122. Service fees, 7% under Section 121, and 5% under Section 122. Deposits from customers, these are not considered as income items. These are not revenue items on the part of the institution. In fact, accepting deposits from the public constitutes liabilities on the part of the institution. Every time na tumatanggap ka ng pera from your clients or your customers, you are not earning revenue. You are actually incurring liability. Okay? So Section 121, ang sabi sa dividend, 0. Section 122, walang 0 doon. So, subject sa 5% percentage tax. Financial leases, revenue from financial leases, interest, discounts, and commission. Under Section 121 and even under Section 122, if 5 years or less yan, short-term yan, at dahil short-term ang aral mo, 5% ang tax. 5 ang tax natin. Dito rin sa kabila, 5 ang tax mo dyan. Kapag more than 5 years, ito ay long-term naman. At kapag long-term ang aral, ang ating ibibigay na ang makukuhang grade ay 1. So 1% ito times 1% din. Tama ba? 5, 7, 7, 7, 0, 0, 5, 1. Ito, 5, 5, 5, 0, 5, 5, 1. So, ito na yung mga sagot natin. 96,000 under Section 121 and 91,000 under Section 122. Okay? I hope naintindihan natin. Okay, let us now continue on our discussion. We have now sections 123 and 124. Sabay uli. 123 and 124 magkasabay natin i-discuss dahil parehas sila ng nature, no? Insurance sila parehas. Sabi ko sa inyo before, importante yung usapang insurance kasi during our discussion sa estate tax, dapat familiar ka dun sa mga terms na madadaanan mo. So dito, ang sabi, tax on life insurance premiums. So dapat alam mo na kung anong premiums na tinutukoy dito. Life insurance premiums. At alam mo na rin sana kung anong life insurance kasi nagkaroon ako ng detailed discussion on this one and I hope you recall our discussion on life insurance as well as kung ano yung premiums. Sabi ng Section 123, tax on life insurance premiums, there shall be collected from every person, company, or corporation, except cooperative. You know the reason why cooperatives are not covered by Section 123. Diba, nabanggit kasi sa Section 109, letter N. Correct, letter N, na ang mga kooperatiba ay hindi dapat pinapatawan ng business tax, except cooperative companies. Doing life insurance business of any sort in the Philippines, a tax at the rate of 2%, 2%, mababa, of the total premium collected, whether such premiums are paid in money, notes, credits, or any substitute for money. So 2% under Section 123. 1, 2, 3, 2% ang 1, 2, 3. Section 123, tax on life insurance premium. So hindi ito yung buong provision, may continuation ito. Yung continuation nito ay yung mga collections ng life insurance premiums na hindi pinapatawan ng tax according to Section 123. Yung 2% na yan, hindi mo siya ipapataw. But, sabi niya, premiums refunded within 6 months after their payment on account of the rejection of the risk or returned for other reason to a person insured shall not be included in the taxable receipt. Binalik mo na eh. Paano pa siya magiging taxable? Kaya lang may period, dapat within 6 months after their payment. So nagbayad, kapag hindi nabalik within 6 months, hindi pwede mag-apply ito. Pero kung nabalik mo siya within a 6-month period, yan, Section 123 will no longer apply. Kasi nga, ano naman, logical naman and reasonable naman na kung ibinalik mo naman yung premium within that allowed period, then dapat hindi na siya mataksan. Nor shall any tax be paid upon reinsurance by a company that has already paid the tax. Pag sinabing reinsurance, hindi ito pag-i-insure ng ng buhay na na-insure na. Kasi ang tawag doon double insurance. Iba ang double insurance sa reinsurance. If there is one subject matter, tas dalawa yung insurance policy over the same subject matter, ang tawag doon ay double insurance. Pag sinabing reinsurance, ito yung pag-insure sa insurance. So ito yung buhay, ito yung life, ito yung insurer, ito yung insured, ito yung insurance company, in-insure niya to. In-insure niya rin tong isang tao na to, in-insure niya to. So kunyari, marami na siyang insurance na policy over the life of marami ring tao. So siya ngayon, si insurer, yun yung trabaho niya mag-insure ng mga buhay So marami na siyang outstanding na insurance policy. Pwede niyang ipa-insure yung mga insurance na yon. So ang tawag dun sa mag-i-insure, dun sa mga insurance policy na yan ay reinsurance company. Yan, reinsurance company. Sabi ng letter B, hindi daw pinapatawan ng tax under Section 123 kapag ito ay reinsurance. No? As long as nabayaran na yung tax on the original insurance. Nor upon doing business outside the Philippines on account of any life insurance of the insured who is a non-resident, if any tax on such premium is imposed by the foreign country where the branch is established. So ito naman, kung meron daw policy from outside the Philippines pero nataksan na in the foreign country, then it will no longer be subject to tax here in the Philippines. Nor upon premiums collected, received, or on account of any reinsurance, ganun uli, alam na natin yung kwenta ng reinsurance, if the insured, in case of personal insurance, resides outside the Philippines, if any tax on such premiums is imposed by the foreign country. So ganun uli, reinsurance premium siya, pero foreign, tapos nabayaran na yung tax. So para hindi magkaroon double taxation, I suppose, yun yung reason kaya hindi na pinapatawan uli ng tax under Section 123. And then finally, nor upon that portion of the premiums collected or received by the insurance company is on variable contracts. No? Variable contracts. Okay, siguro naman familiar kayo kung ano yung variable contracts. No? Nauuso siya ngayon. Pag ang insurance ay under a variable contract, meron siyang dalawang component. So meron siyang insurance, life insurance component at meron siyang investment component. Kapag yung premium ay in-apply doon sa kanyang insurance component, subject yun sa tax under Section 123. Ang hindi tinataksan dito, yung nakalagay dito, in excess of the amount necessary to insure the lives of the variable contract worker. So meaning, yung portion na napupunta doon sa kabila, which is the investment, say pag lumagpas na, sabi niya in excess of the amount necessary, doon sa ibig sabihin doon sa investment portion, hindi na siya covered ng Section 123. Exempt na siya for the reason that you can no longer consider it as premium on life insurance or life insurance premium. Kasi nga, dinala mo na siya dun sa investment side. Siyempre, pag ini-invest siya, nagkakaroon, minamanage yung investment. No? Minsan nag-charge sila for the management fees, for example. Yun ay hindi rin pinapatawan ng tax under Section 123, pero possible na yan ay mataksan ng value-added tax. Or percentage tax under Section 116. Babalik na naman tayo doon. Kailan yung percentage tax under Section 116? Yun ay mag-a-apply kung siya ay non-VAT registered at hindi lumalagpas ng 3 million yung kinikita niya in managing the investment portfolio or in the investment side. Okay? So ito yung mga hindi pinapatawan, Section 123. And hindi mo lang, may F pa dito, kaya lang nabanggit na siya sa taas. No? Bago pa tayo napunta dito, nandito na siya. Yan. Yung cooperative. Yan. Cooperative. Dapat nandito siya eh. Kasi ano siya, non-taxable. Pero okay lang kasi ito talaga yung exact provision ng Section 123. This one is not Section 123. It must be Section 124. Magic, Section 124 na siya ngayon. Tax on agents of foreign insurance companies. Okay. Every fire, marine, or miscellaneous insurance agent authorized under the Insurance Code to procure policies of insurance as they may have previously been legally authorized to transact on risks located in the Philippines for companies not authorized to transact business in the Philippines shall pay a tax equal to twice the tax imposed under Section 123. So, ibig sabihin, itong 124 ay nagko-cover naman on non-life insurance. Non-life insurance of foreign insurance companies. Okay. Particularly their agents here in the Philippines. So may continuation to. Basahin muna natin yung continuation. Sabi ng continuation, that the provision of this section 124 shall not apply to reinsurance. We know the reason why. Provided that the provisions of this section shall not affect the right of an owner of a property to apply for and obtain for himself policies in foreign companies. In cases where said owner does not make use of the services of an agent. So malinaw sa Section 124 na may dalawang paraan para maka-avail ka ng insurance, ng non-life insurance from a foreign insurance company. Either magkuha ka ng agent or you can directly transact with the foreign insurance company. Sabi, hindi ka daw pagbabawalan sa karapatan mo doon sa bilang property owner to apply for and obtain for himself. Ikaw mismo ang kukuha. Hindi ka gumagamit ng serbisyo ng ahente. Yan. In all cases where owners of property obtain insurance directly with foreign companies, it is their duty to report to the insurance commissioner and to the commissioner each case where insurance has been so affected. So meron silang ngayon obligasyon. Kapag sa agent kasi, syempre kapag agent, automatic meron silang reportorial requirement, reportorial duties. Pero kapag direct ka nakipag-transact, ikaw pa ngayon ang merong obligasyon na mag-report kay insurance commissioner. Tapos, meron pang babayaran na tax at the rate of 5% on the premiums on the premiums paid in the manner required by Section 123. Okay? So, as a summary, Section 123 covers life insurance, while Section 124 covers non-life insurance. Number one, difference nila, domestic and foreign insurance under Section 123, while 124 specifically mentions that it will cover only foreign insurance companies. Number two, Section 123, ang tax ay based on the life insurance premiums, ganun din sa 124, but non-life naman. 123 imposes a tax of 2%, 124, if through an agent, hindi niya binanggit na 4%, pero ang sabi niya, you double the tax found in Section 123. Dahil 2% ito, 4% siya. At kapag direct yung insurance, direct yung transaction, with a foreign insurance company, 5% siya. Mind you, na baka yung iba sa inyo nagbabasa na medyo lumalumang tawag dito, material o kaya materials na supposedly updated pero nakalimutang i-update ito. Ito ay dating 5%. No? Pursuant to Republic Act 10001, naging 2% siya. Kaya lang baka hindi na take note ng author niyan na nagbago na yung tax rate. So it's possible na ito ay 5%, tapos ito naka 10% pa rin. Or it's also possible na ito ginawa niyang 2%, pero ito nakalimutan niyang ayusin. Naging 2% na ito 10% pa rin. Nakalimutan niya na Although yung amendment ay nasa Section 123, yung 124 ay nakadepende doon sa tax rate sa Section 123. So kung babaguhin mo yung 123, dapat baguhin mo din itong 124. And finally, ma-share ko lang, under the original text of the Republic Act 10001, ito supposedly ay gagawing 0% pa. 0% pa siya hanggang maging exempt na yung life insurance. And eventually, syempre, kung magiging zero yon, kung ang tax under 124 ay zero, ay naka-double nun, double zero ay zero din. Kaya lang binito siya ni GMA, President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. So hindi nag-take effect yung portion na yun ng batas. Kaya ngayon, ang sitwasyon natin, 2% dito, 4% dito. Ano tong direct? Yung direct ay hindi nakadepende sa kahit anong ibang provision. May sarili siyang buhay. Kaya palagi lang siyang 5%. So magbago ng magbago yung tax under Section 123, magbabago din yung tax under Section 124 if by agent. Pero unaffected yung tax on the premiums kapag yung transaction ay direct doon sa property owner with the foreign non-life insurance company. Okay? That's it for 123 and 124. We have here a problem para ma-appreciate natin 123 and 124. Collections on premiums on disability insurance, 500,000. Fire insurance, 200,000. Accident insurance, 100,000. Health insurance, 400. And bonding insurance, 300,000. How much is the business tax if the taxpayer is domestic insurance company? Second question, foreign insurance company and the policies were handled through agents. And finally, foreign insurance company and the policies were directly applied with the insurance company. Okay? Pause the video if you want to try to answer for yourself. And if not, just wait. Dahil sasagutan din agad natin siya. So sabi ng problem, meron daw mga iba't ibang uri ng insurance at ito yung amount. Ang first mong gagawin ay to identify kung siya ba ay life insurance, considered as life insurance, or non-life insurance. So madali lang naman, para malaman mo kung life insurance ba ito, meron bukod sa life insurance, all other forms of insurance na may kinalaman sa buhay ng tao ay considered as life insurance. So dito, ang disability insurance ay life insurance. Ang access ay may nag-automatic computation siya. Tanggalin natin. Life insurance ay accident insurance rather, ay also life insurance. Health insurance is a life insurance. So lahat ng forms of insurance na may kinalaman sa buhay natin bilang mga tao. So life insurance, disability insurance, accident insurance, health insurance, hospitalization insurance. Yan. Mga may kinalaman sa buhay ng tao. Pag non-life naman, walang kinalaman. Fire insurance, wala siyang kinalaman sa property insurance ito, as well as bonding. Ano kaya yung bonding? Isa-isahin natin. Yung mga forms ng life insurance, bago natin masagutan ito, non-life insurance ay meron akong dito. Tawag dito, mnemonic. FISIB PM. FISIB PM. Hindi ko alam kung nag-feasibility studies kayo. Hindi ko alam kung meron kayong with the current situation, I don't know kung paano nyo rin ikakandak itong FISIB ninyo. Pero yun, meron tayong tinatawag na feasibility study. FISIB. And then PM. Ano yung PM? Gabi. Di ba? PM is night, gabi. Or hapon, gabi. Parang ang point dito ay kakagawa mo ng FISIB, ginagabi ka. FISIB PM. The first F ay fire insurance. Yan. Obvious naman kung para saan yung fire, di ba? Siya ay para sa baha. Hindi. Para siya sa sunog. No? Para yung property mo, you want it to be covered against fire, the risk of being burned or being subject of a fire. Yan. Pag nasunog siya, makaka-recover ka. Ano naman tong pangalawa? Fidelity. Fidelity. Ito naman yung ginagamit para sa mga, usually, para sa mga employees or handling cash. So kapag ikaw nag-transfer, kunyari ikaw yung naaatasan na mag-transport ng pera mula sa bank, mula sa branch, papunta doon sa mga ATM, yan. Usually may fidelity kayo. O kaya naman, collector ka. I don't know kung meron pa rin collector ngayon. Kasi before, yung mga tawag dito, yung mga utilities, no? Ang collection method niyan ay tao mismo. So kung ikaw yung nangongolekta ng pera, medyo risky yon on your part, fidelity ang kailangan sa'yo. Form of insurance. Yung letter S naman ay surety. Yung surety naman ay binabind niya yung sarili niya, binabind ng isang surety yung sarili niya to be liable sa utang ng ibang tao. Kung hindi siya makakabayad, ako, yung surety, ang magbabayad. Pero hindi libre yan. Kailangan niya magbayad ng premium sa akin. Kasi surety nga ako. So surety ang tawag dyan. Yung I naman ay indemnity. Pag sinabing indemnity, usually naman ito ay for services. So nag-a-apply ito, best example will be construction company. Yung mga construction companies, they are required to post indemnity insurance in case na hindi nila matapos yung project on time. Para ma-cover yung mga owners ng property, they require the posting of indemnity insurance. Letter B ay banding. Banding companies. Hindi to banding na masaya, actually banding na malungkot to. Banding, kapag ikaw ay, let's say, akusado sa isang criminal case, kailangan mo magpiyansa. Bail ang tawag doon. Particularly bail bond. Bail bond ang tawag. Maraming uri ng bail bond. Pwedeng cash. Yan. Cash bond o kaya property bond. Yan. Cash bond o kaya property bond. Ano bang purpose nun? Kasi syempre kung ikaw ay akusado sa isang criminal case, dapat a-attend ka ng hearing mo. Paano may ensure ng court na a-attend ka ng hearing? Kasi kung hindi ka kung gusto lang naman ng korte na masigurado na ikaw a-attend ng hearing, ikukulong ka na niya. Habang dinidinig pa yung kaso mo, dito ka na lang, kulong ka na lang muna. Para sure ako na every time na i-hear yung kaso mo, attend ka. Utusan ko yung warden na dalihin ka dito every time na hearing mo. Pero you want your provisional liberty, di ba? Gusto mong ayaw mo makulong habang hindi dinidinig yung kaso mo, syempre parang gusto mong patunayan na innocent ka di ba? So kailangan mong magpiyansa. Anong purpose ng piyansa? Gusto ng korte na makasigurado na a-attend ka. Paano yun? Paano niya masisigurado yun? Mag-iwan ka sa akin ng valuable item, gaya ng pera. Sabihin ng korte, fiscal, ano ba ang recommendation mo? Ban po in the amount of 300,000, for example. Mag-deposit ka sa korte ng 300,000 para ma-ensure ko na a-attend ka. Kasi pag hindi ka umattend, itong 300,000 mo, hindi mo na makukuha. Ganun nag-work ang piyansa. Sa gobyerno na to. It will be forfeited in favor of the state and you will be and a warrant of arrest will be issued against you. Ganyan na mangyayari kapag nakapiyansa ka tapos hindi ka umattend ng hearing mo. Kaya kung yung mga akusado sa inyo, yan, kung meron man sa inyong akusado or may kakilala kayong akusado at siya nakapiyansa, advisean ninyo. Siguraduhin mo na attend na kasi yung pinyansa mo, hindi mo na makukuha yon. Tapos may isyuhan ka pa ng warrant of arrest. Mahirap niyang ganyan. What if wala kang cash? Pwedeng property. Parang wala pa akong na-experience na merong property insurance, na property ban. Pero kung wala kang cash, wala kang property, anong gagawin mo? Maghahanap pa ngayon ng bonding company. Yan. Bonding company. So okay lang yan, tinatanggap yan ng ating mga korte. So ang magiging arrangement will be maghahanap ka ng bonding company. Yan. X bonding company. So babayad ka kay X ng ng premium, kasi may mga papers yan, kung ano man yung papers na magiging resulta sa katapusan ng yung pagpo-post ng bond ay isasubmit sa korte. Dapat regular kang magbabayad ng premium. Siyempre, kung 300,000 yung required na bond, bail bond, mas maliit na lang yung babayaran mo kasi premium na lang yun. Premium na lang. Pero dapat i-renew mo siya per year kasi nag-expire yan annually. Pag hindi mo na-renew, ay malagot ka. Kasi kung wala kang existing na bond, gano'n na naman yung arrangement. Papa-aresto ka na naman ng korte. Letter P ay property insurance. Yan. Meron kang building, takot ka na, syempre kinakabahan ka pag ito ay nasira, anong gagawin ko, ito ay lumindol, ano na lang, paano na lang, i-insure mo siya. And then, letter M ay marine insurance. Kung meron kang barko, yan, ginagamit mo yung barko, kailangan mo ng marine insurance. O kaya naman, kapag meron kang mga produkto na ita-transport from one point to another over water, then marine insurance. Kailangan mo ng marine insurance. Yan. So, yung mga yan ay mga non-life insurance. Fire, fidelity, surety, indemnity, bonding, property, and marine. Now, na-classify na natin. Disability is life, fire is non-life, accident is life, health is life, bonding is non-life. So 1 million ang collection by way of life insurance, 500,000 non-life insurance. What if domestic insurance company ito? So ito, under Section 123, ay subject sa 2% tax. Itong non-life niya, 500,000, ay subject sa VAT, 60,000. Pwede ring percentage tax kung sasabihin ng problem na itong domestic insurance company na ito ay non-VAT registered at ang kanyang collections ay hindi lumalagpas ng 3 milyon kada taon. Foreign insurance by way of agent, life ay 2% pa rin. Non-life ay 4%. Sabi, double the tax eh. Uy, ba't ganun? Tama. Double the tax dito. 4%. So 2% sa life, 4% sa non-life. So nagkataon lang na parehas 20,000. Foreign insurance direct transaction, pag life insurance 2%, kapag non-life insurance 5%. Yan. Yan ang ating mga kasagutan. So if you need time to absorb itong mga naging pagkakato, you can replay if you want, but you can pause if you want, then bahala na kayo mag-resume kung kailan nyo gusto. In the meantime, let us proceed to the next set of taxes. So, nandito tayo ngayon sa amusement tax. Ano daw ba ang amusement? Sabi ng ating batas, ang amusement ay isang lugar. Ang amusement place ay isang lugar kung saan ang isang tao ay gustong pumasok, makapasok siya doon, pero bago siya makapasok, kailangan niya magbayad ng admission fee. So kung ibig sabihin kung walang bayad-bayad para makapasok, hindi siya considered as amusement place. Papasok ka doon, nagbayad ka muna, papasok ka. Pagdating mo doon sa loob, para siya maging amusement place, dapat meron ka daw pinapanood. Meron ka daw pinapanood. You want to view something. May gusto kang makita. At yung nakikita mo causes joy and pleasure. Natutuwa ka daw doon sa nakikita mo. Hindi ko iniimbento to. Ito talaga ang definition ng amusement place. Nagbayad ka para makapasok. Pagpasok mo sa loob, meron kang gustong panoorin. Meron kang gustong makita. At yung pinapanood mo na yan at nakikita mo na yung biniview, yung something na biniview mo daw, ay nagkukos sa'yo ng joy and pleasure. Tuwa ka sa mga nangyayari. And then, hindi ka pwedeng mag-participate. There's no participation on the part of the client. Hanggang nood lang. So for example, cockpit. Yan. There shall be collected from the proprietor, lessee, or operator of cockpit. Sabungan. Babayad ka para makapasok sa sabungan, manonood ka ng dalawang manok na nagsasabong, tuwang-tuwa ka naman daw na nag-aaway yung dalawang manok for whatever reason, no? Galit ang mga manok sa isa't isa, gusto nilang sabungin ang bawat isa, manonood ka naman. Natutuwa ka at sabi ng batas, dapat hindi ka makisali. Hindi ka daw, wala daw direct participation on the part of the person who is viewing. Kasi in the first place, ikaw naman ay hindi manok. No? Hindi ka naman manok para makisali sa sabong. Yung taya-taya, okay, yung legality niyan, outside of our discussion. Cabaret, hindi ko alam yan. No? I'm very innocent para malaman ko kung anong meron sa cabaret. Night or day club, lalo na yan, hindi ko rin alam yung mga yan. So, lalaktawan ko kasi inosente akong tao. Hindi ko alam kung ba't mo gustong magbayad, no? At ano yung kailangang panoorin sa loob ng cabaret. Clueless ako dyan. Boxing exhibition. Babayad ka daw para makapasok, upo ka doon. May dalawang may dalawang lalaki or dalawang babae or may dalawang tao doon na nagsasapakan. Tuwang-tuwa ka naman na ginagawa nila yon for whatever reason. No? Na may satisfaction on your part na may dalawang taong nagsusuntuhan. At hindi ka pwede mag-participate. Bawal mag-participate, lalo kung hindi ka naman boksingero, masasapak ka. Uuwi kang bungal, no? Uuwi kang bawas-bawas ang ngipin. Professional basketball games, ganun ulit. Din ka, nanonood ka, yan, may dalawang team nag-aagawan sa bola para i-shoot dun sa ring. Yan, tuwang-tuwa ka naman. High alay, I don't know if you are aware with what high alay is. It is a sporting event. I don't know kung meron pang legal na high alay ngayon. But before, no, merong high alay. It is a sporting event kung saan meron silang aparatos na ginagamit, merong bolang involved, and then pinapatalbog yung bola sa pader para saluhin ng kalaban. Pag nasalo ng kalaban, ganun ulit gagawin niya. Pero diyan pwedeng gamitin yung kamay niya, kailangan niya gamitin yung aparato niya. Parang ganito, yung aparato niya, made of plastic. Para siyang hook, pero malalim. No? Hindi naman siya tabo. Pero essentially parang ganun. Imagine ninyo, may mga tabo, yung mga tao, may bola dun sa tabo, tapos ibabato niyang ganun. Siyempre, depende kung gaano siya kalakas bumato, tatalbog ngayon yun. Pag tumalbog, kailangan saluhin nung kalaban using the tabo. Again, hindi siya tabo, ha? Pero para lang ma-imagine niyo. So pag nasalo niya na, ganun ulit gagawin niya, ibabato niya sa pader para masalo ng kalaban. Pag hindi nasalo ng kalaban, point for the other team. So ganun siya. High alay. If you have time, you can search sa YouTube, high alay. And then racetrack. Itong racetrack na ito ay karera, hindi ng mga tao, hindi ng mga sasakyan, hindi ng mga racing cars, kundi karera ng kabayo. Racetrack na tinutukoy dyan ay karera lamang ng kabayo. Provided, however, ito merong exemption rather, that boxing exhibitions kung saan merong title involved, no? World or Oriental Championship in any division, will be exempt from the amusement tax. Kung isa or yung dalawa ay na naglalaban or yung contender, talagang gumagano ako, contender ay Pilipino. At yung event, yung exhibition ay promoted by a citizen of the Philippines or a corporation which is owned 60% by at least 60% Filipinos. Okay. Bago tayo mag-proceed sa next slide, pag-usapan lang natin yung ibang bagay. KTV, video okay. Video okay. Kung iisipin mo ang video okay ay hindi amusement. By the very definition, hindi siya amusement place. Kasi although may bayad para makapasok sa mga KTV bars, sa mga video okay bar, may bayad talaga. Hindi libre yan. Pero yung purpose mo ay hindi sang-ayon doon sa definition ng amusement. 'Di ba hindi ka naman magbabayad para makapasok, for example, sa Music 21. Tapos mag-iikot-ikot ka doon, maghahanap ka ng mga kumakanta para panoorin siya. Ang creepy mo pag ginawa mo 'yon. Tapos natutuwa, kaya ang galing mo kumanta, no? Husay mo. Hindi ganon, di ba? Actually, kabaliktaran pa ng definition. Pag KTV bar, hindi pwedeng walang participation on your part. Kaya ka nga pumunta dun kasi kantang-kanta ka na eh. Diba? Kahit wala kang katono-tono, go ka lang ng go, kanta ka ng kanta ng mga Mariah Carey at Adele, no? At saka Regine Velasquez. Kahit di abot, go lang. Supportive yung mga friends mong kasama mo sa KTV bar. 'Di ba? Merong kang direct participation which is 'di ba? Which is contrary to the what has been defined as amusement place. But anyway, ang mga KTV, ang mga video okay places ay considered as clubs. Covered sila dito sa clubs. At dahil club sila, meron silang amusement tax. Okay, pag-usapan natin ang mga sinehan. Ang sinehan ay pasok sa definition ng amusement. Babayad ka para makapasok, may papanoorin ka, tuwang-tuwa ka doon sa napapanood mo, or maaaring hindi ka matuwa, depende kung nag-enjoy ka ba o hindi doon sa movie, pero you expect naman siguro. No? Merong expectation on your part na matutuwa ka doon sa papanoorin mo. And there is no direct participation on your part. Manonood ka lang talaga. Kasi pag humarang-harang ka doon, mapagalitang papalabasin ka. Sigaw yung mga tao, guard. May doon. Si Raulo, nag-aanino siya doon. So pasok, no? Amusement tax. Dapat ba yan? The answer is wala. At least sa section 125. Meron yung amusement tax, pero yung amusement tax ng mga sinihan ay covered ng local government. So, ang nagpapataw ng buwis para sa mga sinihan ay yung local government mismo. So, kung pinapatawan na ng local government, then hindi na pwedeng patawan pa ng national government. And then vice versa. Okay? Sino yan? Kilala niyo ba yan? Wala kaya. Hindi ko alam kung sino yan. So, ito yung mga tax rate natin. Boxing, 10%. Basketball, 15%. Club, cabaret, cockpit, 18%. And then racetrack or high alay, although wala nang high alay ngayon. At least yung legal na high alay, no? 30%. Or yung government-sanctioned high alay, 30%. Again, this is just a matter of recall. How do we recall? Boxing, you can think of ilan ang bilang kapag natumba ang isang boksingero. Sapak siyang gano'n. Bibilangan siya. Pwedeng 10, 9, 8, 10. O kaya naman ilang rounds ang kailangang matapos bago magkaroon ng champion or panalo. 10 rounds. Pwede rin. No? Bahala ka kung saan mo, para maalala mo siya. Pag natumba, hindi 30, ang tagal nun. 30, 29, 20, ang tagal nun. Nag-dinner na siya. Hindi ka pa tapos magbilang. 10 lang. 10, 9, 8. Actually, 8 lang daw ata. Pero hindi. 10 ang tamang sagot. Kung ano man yung totoo, bahala na. Pero para sa purpose natin, maalala natin itong mga pinag-aaralan natin, 10 ang importante. Ilang rounds? 10. Basketball. I have nothing against basketball, no, pero hindi ako nanonood ng basketball. Hindi lang talaga ako nag-enjoy. Una, malabo yung mata ko. One time, merong paliga sa amin, yung inaanak ng tita ko, naglaro. So, sumama yung tita ko, nandun ako sa tita ko. Sinama kami. Nanonood na ng basketball. Malabo yung mata ko. Hindi ko alam kung nasushoot ba o hindi. Pero ang luko na lang, kapag gumalaw yung net, feeling ko na-shoot. So pag gumalaw yung net, pumapalakpak ako, hindi naman pala na-shoot. Tumitingin siya sa akin, ba't ako pumapalakpak? So hindi ko na lang talaga alam kung ano ba talaga, bakit talaga. Anyway, hindi talaga. So hindi ako medyo fan ng basketball. Pero I asked around, nagtanong ako, baka ito, mukha siyang fan ng basketball. So ganun siya. Ganun pa talaga ng bola. Fan ng basketball dyan. Sabi-sabi ng aking mga napagtanungan, every time na may nalularo ng basketball, dalawang team yan. Siyempre, ng dalawang team. Ang naglalaro ay tig-5. Hindi ko alam kung totoo yun, pero yun sabi sa akin. Tig-5. And they are guided by their coach. So, dagdag mo na yung dalawang coach. So, 12 na yun. And then sabi rin nila sa akin, meron daw diyang 3 referee. No? 3 referee. So, 5 persons per team. So, that's 10. Plus yung tig-isang coach. So, that's 12. Plus yung 3 referee. 15. 15 sila. So, every time na meron naglalarong basketball, yung mga aktibong players dyan, mga aktibong tao, ay 15. Hindi ko alam kung totoo yun again. Pero para lang matandaan natin itong 15% na ito, yun na yun. Itong club cabaret cockpit, madali lang ito. Try mong pumasok sa club, o kaya sa cabaret, o kaya sa cockpit. Yung nakabantay sa labas, tatanungin ka, o bata, bago makapasok dito, ilang taon ka na ba? Yan. At least dapat ikaw ay 18. Yan, 18. Kasi pag sinagot mo 17, di ka papasukin dyan. 18. Racetrack. Again, sa high alay, di na ako mag-iisip kung anong meron sa high alay. Wala naman high alay. Racetrack. Karera ng kabayo. Paano na patatandaan to? Speed ng kabayo. Yan. Ang average speed daw ng kabayo, pag nagagalop-galop siya, ay 30 kph ata. No? 30 kph. No, kaya naman, para matandaan to, 30 kph ang paggalop ng kabayo. O kaya, ang average lifespan ng mga kabayo, 30 years daw. Whatever it is, na bahala na kayo mag-alala, no, mag-isip ng paraan para matandaan yan. Pero yun lang ang pwede kong i-share sa inyo. Okay? So we have the problem here, section 125. Cash receipts on admission para makabayad daw. Meron pala akong kailangang i-discuss dito. What if merong mga ano pang mga ibang pwedeng i-charge cover dito? Bukod sa admission, yung bayad para makapasok, yung coverage, yung iba kasi dito, live coverage, di ba? Merong TV, may TV coverage or radio coverage din, pwede. May bayad yun. Diba? May bayad yung TV coverage at radio coverage. Anong rate dyan? Same rate will apply. 10%, 15, 18, tsaka 30. I don't know kung may TV, yung cockpit alam ko may TV coverage yan. Pero yung club tsaka cabaret, mukhang hindi. Mukhang walang coverage yung mga. Tapos, walang coverage. Tapos, diyan merong mga pagkain. I'm aware sa basketball, may mga nag-iikot-ikot dyan na nag-o-offer ng pagkain. Sa Araneta, for example, yan. May mga nag-iikot, nagbebenta ng popcorn, for example, o kaya pizza, kaya tubig, yan. May mga nag-offer ng pagkain. Yan. Kung ano man yung pagkain na i-offer sa'yo ay will also be subject to the same amusement tax. Hindi lang mag-a-apply yung amusement tax kung ibang entity yung nag-offer ng food. Kung ibang entity. So for example, may nagbebenta ng pizza, pero hindi naman siya yung operator ng basketball court or yung basketball, ano naman tawag dyan, stadium. Pizza Hut siya, for example, or ibang pizza, Yellow Cab siya, or Shakey's siya. Siyempre, kung ano yung tax ng Pizza Hut, Yellow Cab, or Shakey's, which is, I would presume, value-added tax, yun yung tax na ipapataw. Kasi hindi naman talaga siya yung amusement place operator. Nagkataon lang na nandoon siya at that time. Boxing, ano bang masarap kainin kapag may nakakawalang gana kapag nanonood ng boxing. Pero yung iba, no, habang nanonood ng boxing, nagpa-popcorn. Tuwa pa ba? Nagsantukan sila. Popcorn. Cockpit, yan. Ano bang sa sabungan, ano ang ine-expect nyong pwedeng ibentang pagkain doon? Siguro fried chicken. Di ba fried chicken? Magandang ibenta yan sa loob ng cockpit. Bakit? Bumibenta ng fried chicken sa loob ng cockpit para ma-motivate yung mga manok. Di ba kung ikaw yung manok at ikaw na yung nakasalang, ikaw na yung hindi salang na ipiprito, salang na lalaban, O tapos nakita mo na yung mga nasa paligid ay kumakain ng pritong manok, gagalingan mo. Di ba? Kasi pag hindi mo ginalingan, alam mo na yung kakahantungan mo. Alam mo na kung anong next na mangyayari kapag hindi mo ginalingan dun sa laban mo bilang manok. Hirap din mag ano, no? Internalize bilang manok. Racetrack, ano kayo meron kainin dyan? O whatever it is, kung ano man yung food and beverage na ina-offer nila, dyan sa mga amusement places na yan, will also be subject to the same amusement tax. So we have here cash receipts on admission for 100,000, account sales 100,000, cost of services 100,000, returns allowances and discounts 20, receivables beginning 70, ending 50, sale of food and beverage 100. How much is the business tax if the taxpayer is a bowling alley operator, video okay bar operator, nightclub operator, commercial theater cinema, circus operator, and racetrack operator. You can pause the video if you want to answer. If not, just wait and we will proceed with the answering. So, ang una natin gagawin ay makuha ang collection. Kailangan makuha kung magkano yung nakolekta niya. So, that's 400,000. Ano ba ito nangyayari dito? Ayan. 400,000 plus 100,000, disregard your cost of services, minus 20,000, plus 70,000 receivable beginning, minus ending receivable, and then plus sale of food and beverage. Ang total niya ay 600,000. So ito na yung base mo para sa lahat. So wala na tayong paproblemahin. Paulit-ulit na lang to. Ang issue mo na lang ay saan ko i-multiply itong amount na ito. Kung ikaw ay bowling alley operator, ang tax mo ay nawala. 12%. Bakit 12%? Kasi VAT ka. VAT unless sasabihin ng problem. Una, hindi ka covered ng Section 123. 125 rather. You are not covered by Section 125. Okay? So wala kang tax. Hindi ka covered niyan. Saan lang ngayon? Vatable ka. Unless the problem will provide that you are a non-VAT registered taxpayer and you do not earn more than 3 million in any 12-month period. Video okay bar operator, sabi ng BIR, ikaw daw ay isang club, kaya 18%, 108,000. Nightclub is also 18%, kaya 108,000. Theater ay exempt sa local sa national amusement tax, pero meron kang tax sa local level. Yung tax sa local level, iba-iba yan. Kaya hindi mo masasabi kung anong rate. Kanya-kanya silang tax, local tax ordinance. Circus, wala din. Hindi siya covered ng national amusement tax. Ang nag-govern dyan ay yung local tax code din. And then racetrack, 30%. So you have 180,000. So yung mga sagot natin, 72,000, 108, 108, wala, then 180,000. Okay? So kung kailangan mo ng time to think about the answer, so bahala ka, i-pause mo muna. If not, wait for the next and actually last portion. So merong section 126 pero hindi ko to i-discuss in detail, dadaanan lang. Tax on winnings. Kapag ikaw daw ay nanalo sa horse race, meron kang tax na 10% on your quote-unquote dividends. So kapag tumaya ka sa karera at nanalo ka, ang tawag doon sa napanalunan mo ay dividend. So meron kang 10% on your winnings or dividends. Pero ibabawas doon sa tax base mo yung taya mo. So kung nanalo ka for example ng 100,000, ang tinaya mo ay 1,000, meron kang 99,000, doon i-multiply yung 10%. Unless ang napanalunan mo ay double, forecast, kinela, or trifecta. In which case, 4% yung tax mo. Kung ikaw ay may-ari ng kabayo, 10% tax. Again, I will not discuss this in detail. Ano nyo na lang, this is just memory work. Pag nanalo, 10%, pero bawas yung taya. Kapag ang napanalunan mo ay double, forecast, kinela, or trifecta, 4%. Kung ako ay may-ari ng kabayo, 10%. Ganun lang siya. Let us discuss a more important tax, 127. 127 provides covers tax on sale, barter exchange of shares of stocks listed and traded through the local stocks exchange. So ito ay may discussion na to before nung kayo ay nasa tax 1 sa capital gains tax. Pero ang requirement kasi sa capital gains tax, yung 15% capital gains tax, dapat yung shares of stocks ay not traded, not listed in the local stocks exchange. So kung not traded, not listed, ang tax mo ay nasa capital gains tax 15%. Pero kung listed siya or traded, you apply section 127. Ang sabi dito, ang tax rate mo daw ay 0.6% amended by the Train Law. Prior to the Train Law, ito ay 1/2 of 1%. So ngayon, 0.6% na, which is based on the gross selling price. Gross selling price ang basihan na, not the gain. Ibig sabihin, it's possible na nalugi ka dun sa transaction, but you are still liable for the tax. Hindi tinitingnan kung magkano mo siya nabili or magkano ang cost mo. It won't matter because the 0.6% is based on the gross selling price. Yun ang basihan. So you look for the price, the gross selling price, and then you multiply it by 0.6 or you determine 0.6% of the gross selling price. Section 127 ay meron pang isang tax dati, but under the Bayanihan to Recover as One Act, it appears na siya ay repealed, no? Repealed na siya, wala na siya ngayon. That is for the purpose of boosting yung ating recovery through the issuance of shares in initial public offering. Kasi before ang initial public offering ay may tax. So para hindi maging mabigat para sa mga investors at para ma-encourage actually yung mga investors, lalo na sa mga initial public offering, tinanggal yung tax on IPO by the law, by that law, Bayanihan to Recover as One Act. Sana makarecover na talaga tayo. I pray na matapos na itong pandemya na ito dahil ako ay hindi natutuwa sa online lecture na ginagawa ko. Nakaka-sad mag-lecture ng mag-isa. Walang kasama. Anyway, tama na ang drama. Section 127 dapat itong problem na ito. At dahil meron tayong magic na pwedeng gawin, mamagikin ko siya. Magic. Okay. So a closely held corporation has an authorized stock of 200,000 shares, 200 million, with par value 5 per share. Of this, 50 million was subscribed and fully paid up by A, B, C, D, and E. Nakalagay yung mga shares nila. The corporation decided to offer their shares to the public. They plan to sell in the IPO 50 million of the unissued shares to the investing public at 8 per share. After the IPO, 70 million shares were now standing. From the increase, 10 million were sold to X. D likewise sold these shares in the IPO at 150 per share. 1 month after the IPO, E sold these shares at 150 per share. How much is the business tax due on each transaction? Meron tatlong transaction dito. Yung IPO undertaken by the IPO undertaken by the corporation, the secondary public offering undertaken by D, and the sale of shares of stocks by E. So tatlo. Pero yung unang dalawa, because of the repeal made by the Baro Law, then wala silang tax. Ang tax na lang natin ngayon na poproblemahin ay yung kay E. So how do we compute for that? So we have to determine the selling price. No? We have to determine and we can determine that by multiplying yung shares na binenta ni E sa price per share. It's 150. So ang total consideration na na-receive ni E ay 7,500,000. 1% of 7,500,000 is 75,000 and 6/10 of 75,000 is 45,000 pesos. Okay? So yun yung kanyang liability for percentage tax under Section 127. So that's it. That's the end of the discussion on percentage tax. Thank you for sitting all throughout. I appreciate really kung meron kayong natutunan sana sa pakikinig sa aking mga lecture. Goodbye and